Hello and welcome to RGU Talk, the official podcast of Robert Gordon University. I'm your host, Johnny Milne, and today we're turning our attention to one of the most important skills being nurtured at the university, entrepreneurship. And there's no one better to discuss that than the head of entrepreneurship and innovation who joins me today, Chris Moule. Chris, thank you for coming down.
Hello, Jonathan.
Now, as I said, the university has been placing a significant emphasis on embedding both entrepreneurship and innovation across the university. So to start off, how has this come about?
Well, I think there has been a realization over the past few years that the world is changing. We live in a very fast-paced world. We're seeing incredible change in the world of work brought about by the fourth industrial revolution and technologies transformation all around us. Just see my kids. I have two teenage kids, and the way in which they are engaging with technology on a day-to-day basis, the way that they are learning new things through the iPad and through digital technology is incredible. And I think that there is a realization now that that the skills of tomorrow are the skills that students need for tomorrow are changing. And as educators in higher education, universities are waking up to the fact that we need to provide our students for the skills to equip them for the world of work that they're going into. And so entrepreneurship and innovation is a cornerstone of that. And so we see this as being a way in which we can support our students and also our faculty to learn some of the skills in terms of creativity and problem solving and leadership and design thinking and venturing to equip with them with some of the skills that they're going to be needing in the future of work.
And can you tell us more about some of the activities and developments that your team are putting and indeed have put into place?
Yeah, it's a really exciting time at RGU just now. I mean, I've been here 9 years, and we're seeing some real kind of changes in this area. I think there has always been a kind of bubbling of a student and staff and graduates looking to start businesses or be entrepreneurial or be innovative. And I think for the first time, certainly since I've been here, we now have a dedicated team to support that, which is fantastic, and that has really, been developed under the guidance of our new vice principal, Gordon McConnell, who joined us, and he's kind of led a team called the Entrepreneurship and Innovation Group, which I now head up. Which are dedicated to developing and delivering some of these activities. So at the cornerstone of that, or the anchor of that, has been the RGU Startup Accelerator, which is a competition open to students, staff and graduates. But there's also been the Innovation Masterclasses, of which we've now had 9, around about 3 or 4 a semester, where we invite sort of leading entrepreneurs and innovators from a diverse range of backgrounds to come and speak to our community of entrepreneurs about their journey and share some of their wisdom. We've also done a number of innovation skills workshops where these are kind of at lunchtimes in the evenings, non-credit bearing classes. Again, aimed at our wider community, where we can teach them some skills around design thinking, around HR, finance, marketing, and they're open and free, freely available to everyone. Another thing that I'm very proud of that we've really started to develop and we continue to develop is a mentoring network. There are a number of people that are keen to be involved in the activity that we're doing, that are very open and giving in their time and their expertise. And so we're looking to develop a network called the Aberdeen Innovator Mentor Group. And we currently have about 40-50 of those people who are giving up their time voluntarily to come and meet with our entrepreneurial community and support them in their ambitions to starting a business and help to guide them and be a sounding board for them. And that's something that we're looking to grow over the next few months. So there's a number of activities and initiatives that we're starting to develop. We've done it in a very short space of time. We kind of kicked this off in August last year, so we've actually made some incredible progress over that time, and that's kind of brought us up to a level that other universities are doing. So now what we really want to do over the next sort of 6 to 12 months is to embark on a number of new initiatives as well that will then take us on to the next level of entrepreneurship and innovation in RGU and the wider community.
It really is fantastic to see. And you mentioned the Startup Accelerator. For anyone that might not be aware, what exactly is the Accelerator and how does it work?
Yeah, the Accelerator is kind of the core of the program that we have. So the Accelerator is a startup competition. It's a program of skills that we equip with the startup. So we opened applications in September after doing a certain amount of promotion and evangelizing around the university. It's a program that's open to RGU and NESCOL staff, students and graduates, people who have graduated up to 2 years. And it's really a mentor-led process. So we get mentors to come in and support with the development of the entrepreneurs. We're looking for entrepreneurial teams. So at the moment we have 25 teams going through a fairly structured program of development and skills. And just last week we had the showcase where they exhibited. It's sort of like their prom. It's where they kind of come out and they talk about their journey. They talk about their experience on the accelerator, but they also show off their startup. They're looking for some investment. They're very early stage. They're very diverse as well. They're a diverse bunch, but they've been given the confidence, they've been given the skills and tools to develop their businesses, but they've also been given the confidence to go out and talk about their business, to start to talk to customers, to start to make sales, and to network with one another. Now, there's a lot of sharing of good practice between them, and they're learning from each other in a kind of peer setting as well. So the Accelerator is really a kind of structured startup program that we're now offering. Each startup team gets £10,000 worth of seed funding. Now that's fairly unprecedented in a university setting. I know a number of startup accelerators in universities, but for actually to get some seed funding of that scale is quite significant for a new startup team. But it's been very successful, and we're delighted with it. And last week we had that celebration of the program that was attended by a couple of hundred people. So it was a great event and a real demonstration of their commitment and the hard work that they've put in to making this a success.
And you mentioned the diversity of the teams taking part. What kind of teams are taking part in the Accelerator? Yeah,
the Accelerator is so there are two types of accelerator. There's a horizontal accelerator or a vertical accelerator. So a vertical accelerator will be one that is themed around a specific sector or a specific technology. So for example, OGTC run a TechX accelerator, which is around oil and gas. Ours is a horizontal accelerator, and we're democratizing entrepreneurship. And that means that we're taking it into all sectors, into all schools. And so part of the evangelizing process, we went and spoke to nearly 5,000 students across all the schools, because entrepreneurship doesn't just sit in engineering or the School of Computing or the business school. There's some fantastic entrepreneurs coming out of the School of Pharmacy, School of Architecture, the School of Art. And so that's enabled us to have a real diverse range of startups. We have a number of students, we have a number of graduates, and we have a number of staff that are going through the process. They come from, there's a health startup, there's an oil and gas startup, there is an architecture startup, there is a couple of fashion designers in it, so there's some creative industries in there. So it's a real nice diverse mix of ages, of genders, of sectors, but also we have a number of international students that are on it as well. So that kind of adds to the whole a sense of diversity and learning from one another, and it's created this kind of rich tapestry of startup and venturing. which has made the program really exciting and interesting for the founders.
I suppose one question I would have to ask is, these startups, what impact can they have on the economic development, not only of the region, but beyond that?
Yeah, it's I mean that's one of the reasons that we're doing this. I think one of the things that we're looking to do is to invest in the region, to have a positive impact on economic development in not just in the region but in Scotland, and the way in which they can do that is by creating wealth, creating jobs, developing income streams, investing in the area, staying in the area and investing in the area. And that's one of the reasons that we're opening our incubator up in School Hill, to try and get them to anchor themselves in the region, to grow their businesses in the region. But also it's about being confident in the region and being confident in their own abilities to grow sustainable businesses of a scale. We kind of see it in other areas of the world. We certainly are beginning to see it in places like Edinburgh. But I think there's a real opportunity for Aberdeen to kind of up the game in bringing in investment and supporting some high growth businesses throughout the region, particularly those that aren't related to oil and gas.
And with that opportunity you mentioned for Aberdeen, now I know Top Universities 2018 mentioned Aberdeen as the best place in the UK to launch a startup. What is it about the Northeast that makes it such a fertile environment?
I think any ecosystem needs a certain amount of different things to make it fertile, and I think Aberdeen is beginning to get some of those things. I think you obviously need the entrepreneurs, and I think we do have some excellent entrepreneurs, excellent minds in the Northeast. I think that you also need to have good academia, good research going on. Obviously, you have two excellent universities in the city that have a good stream of research and good academic new thinking coming from them. I think you need to have accelerators like ours, and there are a number of now. Elevator have been going for a while with their accelerator. OGTC have their TechX Pioneers accelerator. We have ours. There's a BioCity biotech accelerator as well. So you kind of need these programs to support them, and then you need the investors. And I think that is somewhere where Aberdeen could develop some more in terms of its investor community. I think that it's still quite an immature environment for that. I think that we need to get some more business angel networks throughout the region, and maybe attach them to some of the universities or to some of the accelerator programs that are going on. And then, of course, we have the mentors, I think, and role models. And I think we have that in Aberdeen. People like Bob Keeler, and Charles Skeen, and people that again have good partnerships and relationships with the university. We see them as being role models. Dave Cormack's another one who recently spoke at one of our innovation masterclasses. So I think we do have some role models. I think we have some really good mentors supporting us. People like George Ewell and Sam Pettisford supporting us on the mentor side. And so I think all these things kind of begin to fuse together to support what I would call an ecosystem. And I think that Aberdeen is beginning to develop that and to make it a more fertile environment for startups and innovation.
Now, turning our attention to our students really exclusively, how important is it that we nurture that entrepreneurial spirit in the students at RGU today?
Yeah, I think it's really important. When I left university, it was a very different world. I think that more and more we're seeing Generation Z and millennials sort of coming out of the universities that have a very different outlook on life, not just their world of work, but outlook on life. When leaving university, and a lot of them want to continue to learn. A lot of them want to be entrepreneurial in organisations that they're going to work in. And so I think in terms of the spirit of entrepreneurship, which I see very much as being having a can-do attitude, problem solving, creative thinking, having that emotional intelligence and that agility, which is some of the skills that an entrepreneur has. And you can use those skills to either go and start a business, which is and resilience is another one, of course, to go and start a business. But you can also use that in the world of work. Wherever you're working, you can use those skills to be successful and to have a positive impact in the work that you do. Entrepreneurship, people that are working. I see entrepreneurs all across RGU, actually. These are people that have those entrepreneurial traits and show an entrepreneurial spirit, but maybe don't start up their own venture, but they can be very entrepreneurial in their own organizations. And I think we're seeing more and more of that. But certainly for people coming into the world of work today, or starting their own venture today, I think those with an entrepreneurial mindset stand themselves in good stead to be able to be successful in what they do. Okay. And that's certainly changed over the past kind of 20 years. They're looking for portfolio careers. They're looking. Some of them will be juggling 3 or 4 jobs at a time. I think this idea of kind of a job for life, certainly when I left university, has very much changed. And I think that there's a kind of a recognition from the universities now that that's the kind of game that we need to play, and that's why entrepreneurship is becoming so important, or an entrepreneurial spirit is becoming so important in today's students. And
now I know that the university has recently announced a further accelerator on top of the one we mentioned earlier, a creative one, which is being run in partnership with Look Again.
Yeah.
How much of a link is there between innovative entrepreneurial skills that we've been mentioning and people looking to work in the creative industries?
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting. We're delighted to be doing this with Look Again over the summer. This is a really exciting project. We've known and we've had really good relationships with Look Again for a while now. But having the opportunity to actually develop an accelerator program for the creatives is brilliant. That's being curated at the moment. It's actually open now, and so anyone that wants to apply can apply for that. I think often in the creative industries, and when you go and speak to students in the School of Art, they often don't see themselves as being entrepreneurs. They see themselves as being artists or jewelry makers or fashion designers. But actually, the creative industries produce some of the most amazing entrepreneurs, and this is where we talk about sort of democratizing entrepreneurship. And because the role models that most people see of think of entrepreneurs are people like Richard Branson or Elon Musk or Alan Sugar, whereas actually, entrepreneurs also include people like Gucci or Beyoncé or Jay Z, incredible entrepreneurs that are artists, creative artists, and I think that there is beginning to be a recognition that the creatives have that kind of creative mind, but also they kind of work in maybe like a gig economy, and maybe don't see themselves as being business minded. And I think what we have the opportunity to do with this accelerator is to provide some models that can support them with their business ambitions. So looking at things like the customer, understanding who the customer are, looking at their value proposition, looking at the resources that they need and the networks and the partnerships, supplier relationships that they need to deliver that value proposition. And then also, looking at some of the financial aspects of it. And so it's kind of giving a bit of an underpinning to the creative sector, to allow them to be creative, but then also to allow them to develop a sustainable business model that underpins that creativity. So it's going to be a really interesting time. We're really excited about doing it. We're looking to they're going to get some studio space. The people that are selected, we're also going to invite them up to our new School Hill Tech Hub, where they can have some workshops up there. And it'll be it's a cohort led. So a lot of accelerators all accelerators are cohort based, and so they have this opportunity to learn off each other. So yeah, we're really excited about working with Look Again of what should be a really good entrepreneurial accelerator program.
That's fantastic. I suppose final question would be, what would your final message be to anyone who's listening to this who perhaps has the spark of a business idea but might not know where to go from there?
Yeah, I think there are lots of people out there, possibilities that kind of have that. I mean, I guess first and foremost, I've started 3 businesses before. It's hard to do, but it's the best thing I ever did. And I think that if people have an inkling or a passion for entrepreneurship or starting a business, then I would always encourage them to try. You know, I think certainly in Scotland we kind of have this fear of failure, and some of England have that as well. Recently been out to the States. I was at MIT last November. They have a very different take on failure. You know, you need to fail to succeed. You know, you need kind of 3 or 4 failures to succeed, because you learn so much from that. And I think that's beginning to change in Scotland, and more wider in the UK. It's the best thing I ever did. I would tell anyone if that they had an inkling for that they should come and speak to us. I think that they're they say that entrepreneurs are often risk takers. I'm not sure I agree with that. I think there are a number of myths about entrepreneurs. I think they maybe take calculated risks, but they usually kind of weigh them up. I think that they go into it having done the analysis and validated their idea, and those are some of the tools that we will help entrepreneurs with. But I think there's lots going on just now, as I've spoken about. I think I would encourage everyone to get involved, to come and speak with us. So we're based in the Syrian Wood building, up by the blue wall where all the quotes are. We invite everybody for a coffee and a chat. We're very open and honest. We're very we want people to come and speak to us and have an initial conversation. I've got a great team of people. So we've got Sally, Ed, Graham, and myself that are supporting entrepreneurship in the university. Love to speak to people, and for people to get involved in the activities that we're doing, the innovation masterclasses, the innovation skills. We send out bulletins around innovation entrepreneurship. We have a number of networking events that people should come and get involved in. And there's such an opportunity to learn about this stuff and learn from each other. So I'd encourage anybody that is listening, that has an idea or just wants to hear more about entrepreneurship and innovation, the activities that we have, to come and see us. Or we have an email address, we have a Twitter account, so innovation@rgu.ac.uk. Drop us an email, tell us your idea, and come and meet us for a coffee, and we can go from there.
Well, Chris, we'll end it there. So thank you so much for coming down to talk to me today.
No problem. It's been a pleasure.
And that's it for another edition of RGU Talk. On behalf of the university, I'm Johnny Milne, and we'll talk to you later.